right. Well, I know that there is a warrior call happening at the same time as this call. So, just for all those people that are not able to be here, thanks for watching the recording and letting me know that you're going to be watching the recording. But if you actually were able to make it, awesome. We welcome you. I am Hilary Graves of Bright Sound Investments, and I have had the privilege of working with these guys that are going to be on our call today. We not cover up their faces. So we've got Jonathan Wells, David Iglewitz, and Ian Schmidt. And we are just basically I'm bragging on their behalf. That's what this call basically is me bragging about them. They are my partners on several deals, but this one they did before I joined the team. And it's a full cycle deal. So I think this is kind of crucial when you're looking to invest with a team that you can see not only have they bought a lot of things, but when they sold something, how did it go? And they just sold this month actually, and it went pretty darn well, I would say. 40% return for investors.
Yes.
So just
You
pretty
froze for a
incredible.
second.
What's that?
You froze for a second.
Did
It's
I?
because there's thunderstorms coming through Pennsylvania
Yeah,
now.
I do have thunderstorm. You're right. Exactly. But I'm gonna have them talk a little bit about why location matters so much, and talk a little bit about Charleston and anything else you want to say about why you like to invest in this area. Go for it, guys.
Sure. Well, I'll start out because I split time between the commercial real estate world, primarily multifamily, as well as the residential real estate world, and I'm the listing agent for a builder in the Charleston area. And I can remember 2.5 years ago being beside myself with excitement when I guess our LOI got accepted on this 40 unit because the builder that I represent has 300 home sites just up the road from this asset. And, that was 2.5 years ago. We have since developed 55 of those home sites that we have built up and sold in the residential space. I think the average home price in that community was close to 700,000. So very, very
Yeah.
excellent part of the city. And what's more amazing is right now, looking back to the springtime, there's a lot of aged inventory on the market. So for us to be able to sell it so quickly at such a profit margin, I think really speaks volumes to the decisions and negotiating that took place, uh, 2.5 years ago on the buy side.
Absolutely. And I mean, this is honestly one of the huge reasons why I wanted to work with your team, besides that you are just awesome people. That was number one. But number two was uh, this is such a smart real estate investment to buy in a place that is growing by leaps and bounds, and that you can see industry is coming and people are coming in droves. It's only going to go up, right? And there's a little bit of a lag. So you know that the people are here and the prices are going to continue to increase for years to come, not just the year that they're here, but as demand will grow and the pressure on those living spaces is going to grow too. And as you can see, minutes from jobs and destinations like this, where you buy and where we buy, is close to everything. Anything that you would want to drive to or even walk to in some cases is right around the corner. And that's where people want to live, right? That's where people want to work and want to live. And so there's huge demand on these living spaces. The economy kicking into high gear. And this is from a couple years ago. Now I feel like it's even more gangbusters than it was then, but just an amazing location. Charleston, South Carolina, and Savannah, Georgia, where we have a few assets. Both are just absolutely booming, and there are stats upon stats upon stats of why these cities are the place that people want to be and the place where there are not enough apartments because everybody is flocking here. So that's a huge piece of it. And obviously that plays into not just the rent growth, but also the appreciation of our evaluation of the assets. So let's look at this one in particular. How about Jonathan? You want to walk us through this particular property? It was the Shaftwoods when you bought it, right?
We still have the sign, the original sign. We should have kept the original sign.
I voted to keep the name, but I was overruled, and we renamed it to one of the local beaches, Folly Beach here, and we gave it a beach vibe. So when we took it over, I don't know if you have any of those pictures, but look at those rents while we're on this slide. $1,000 a unit. So if you know anything about Charleston, South Carolina, you know that is ridiculously under market. I think on the exit, our average lease we were getting was close to $1,900, so almost 2x that. And we also 2x the NOI. So went from almost $250,000 in net operating income to almost $500,000 in net operating income on sale, which was freaking awesome. Exactly what we look for in an asset. It is definitely a B plus location, and location is key, makes everything else easier. And it was a B asset in a B location. So 1980s vintage. And we did a value add. So it was all brick townhomes. And we came in and gave it a beach vibe. We whitewashed all the brick and added board and batten shutters and carriage lighting. This is exactly what we look for in a deal. There's always issues that come up during deals, and we had a drainage ditch issue with the city that we had to take care of, and then someone that was able to stay in our units rent free for almost a whole year while we fought the courts to get them out. But other than that, still an incredible outcome.
Amazing. So here it is, the valuation. Iggy, I'm going to have you talk about this a little bit.
Like, honestly, to be totally honest, it's kind of bittersweet. You get a great return for your investors, but I mean, it's a gorgeous place. A lot of times when I would leave Charleston, we would drive through it, we would check it out. It's just it's a great asset. When you're driving through, this is like when you're in the right location. I remember the first time, and we were talking about this beforehand, so I don't know if this was recording beforehand, but when you drive to the property, you go through a neighborhood, and then you get to this selection of houses, and it just opens up in these really nice single family homes, and then right behind it are these townhomes, and it's like it's picturesque. Even before we painted it and we put in the fences, afterwards it popped, and it totally popped. And remember, we bought this in 2023. So multifamily, I don't, a lot of you guys are investing in multifamily, but multifamily, interest rates went up, and there was a lot of turmoil in 23 and 24 and 25. This is the state of kind of like an alarm, meaning that it's time to buy. But we sold this one because we knew it was the right opportunity, and we got the price we wanted. And so that's because we created so much value, like John mentioned and Hilary mentioned. Um, and so like the rents, I just pulled the original rent roll. There were some under $1,000. Like these are 2 bedroom, 1.5 bath townhomes in a great freaking location. And so we bought it actually at a 4 cap. So most people are like, "Oh my God, you overpaid for it." No, you bought for the value, and we knew the value that we could add to this place with a minimum amount of capex and create value for the residents. And that's what we did. Look at the purchase price, 6,050,000. And then we sold it for 8.8. We just sold it. And you know what I just pulled up was the original loan agreement. Jonathan, John, you want to talk about that? It's on my phone, and I'm cracking up with the original.
Oh yeah, that was a great story. Yeah, so we just sold this. Like we haven't even left the month that we sold it. We've sold it this month. It feels like last quarter or something, but I think it was June 7th or 12th or something. We just sold it. So, yeah, so this is a great story. We have an incredible relationship with a local bank here, First Capital Bank, and every bank says, they want to build a relationship with you. All the big banks say, we're all about relationships. Well, this bank actually has proved it, and we're close with the bank president and several bankers there. And we sent over Sam, our director of acquisitions, found the deal. She sourced the deal like she sources all of our deals, and put it all together. Text the bank president for bank terms, and he texts back a picture of a napkin. He literally wrote the bank terms on the back of a napkin and sent it to Sam. And we get to the closing table, and I forget what exactly the terms were, but we're reviewing all the loan docs, going through it, signing things, and there was, I think it was either an interest rate or origination fee or interest only, something like that. That was a discrepancy between the texted napkin bank term sheet versus the actual loan docs. And I mentioned it to the banker, Bob, who was signing with us. And I was like, hey, I think this is wrong. He's like, what's it supposed to be? I told him, he's like, oh, there's no way we can do that. And I was like, are you sure? And I get out my phone and I pull up, like, your bank president here wrote it on this napkin, and he called him and came back. He was like, all right, we're gonna change it. This is what it's gonna be. He wrote it on a term sheet, and we're gonna honor it. And they honored it, and it was really cool to see that.
You look at
And
your phone. I just texted it to you.
oh,
Yeah.
I wonder if we can put it on the screen. I can't
And
believe
I
you found that.
and I
That is
remember
awesome.
there's times in your life you remember distinctly. I was
Uh,
outside because I had to bring my dog to the vet.
there it is.
He calls me and he's like, these are and it's like a 25-year am instead of a 30-year. And it was hilarious. So it ended up being a 30-year am. So we got great loan terms on it. And it was just fantastic. And that's a relationship, that was built up. But I mean, look at that NOI. John already mentioned it, but I mean, we'll just review it again. On purchase, and it was probably lower than this because we kind of had to rebuild the T12 because the financials weren't totally kosher. So it was 247, 200, and I think it was lower. They weren't collecting exactly. Even when you start, when your rents are that low, yeah, people are supposed to pay, but then they didn't. So, and then we basically doubled the NOI. I mean, and that's a value that we can create. And a lot of that is our own in-house property management. And we owe them, huge gratitude for all their hard work, like taking care of that resident that we'll just call her a professional renter. And I mean, there's no other term. She knew every loophole that there was possible, and the amount of stress that takes to, evict and get somebody back in that's paying is totally commendable. And it's just, a big gratitude. I'm sure all our investors feel, big gratitude for all of this. But I mean, look at that. I mean, and this is in 2025 when deals are struggling and all this chaos is going on, and you hear all this crap about, this, that, and the other thing, and we get a huge exit. So that's all I gotta say.
In 2 years.
3 years.
2 years.
3 years.
These were the projected returns, but you guys kind of blew these out of the water. 21 to 23% AAR, which I guess if out of all of these, you can kind of explain that one as like the total return, I guess you could say, because it takes into account the cash on cash return that you're getting during the life of the deal and the profit at sale. Um, and that number ended up being 40%. So that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, yeah, kudos to you guys. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, it was a home run. I think we have a lot of other home runs right now that we're holding and that are in the pipeline. So great place to buy, great team for me to be a part of, and thank you guys for sharing about this one. Excited to share future exits with you guys for sure.
you can see this we're selling right now in a tough market. So that it's like real, and the buyer is getting a huge opportunity too. And another thing, and this was funny that we were looking at like what cap rate did we really sell at? And this is something that I pulled up. And what did I say to you, John? It's really so what we put in the pro forma and what we sold almost matched. Like so close. What was the exact number? I can't shoot.
I
I
think it was
texted it to you.
5.65 in the performance, and we
5.65, and it was
we
like
went
what?
5.62. Yeah.
It's hilarious. And those were hard-coded numbers. That wasn't automated. And that was, predicting down the future. And I don't know. So the buyer is getting a great opportunity because there is still room to move rents. And so you're giving a buyer like a huge advantage. You already got like a stable property that will cash flow for him. And now he will be able to increase the rents from where we got it by adding more CapEx value, and he can take it to the next level. So, and that's what we want to continue to do.
That's
That's a good point too about we were in a position where we did not have to sell, and we actually preferred not to sell, I think, with how well the cash flow was going. And I was like, um what is that? M- Make me move offer or whatever Zillow does. That's what we basically told brokers, because they're always pinging us to like, hey, would you sell this? Like, yeah, everything's for sale for sure. Um,
the right price.
and they got a number that made sense to us, and then while we're under contract, it tried to retrade us, and that was real easy. It literally took us 10 minutes to say no, we're not going to lower the price. And they're like, okay, we'll buy it. They just test and see if we'll come off some money, but it's exactly where we want to be when we're in a sale position.
Exactly. And you don't have to sell. So you're in charge of the negotiation, really. I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for joining and everybody who was able to attend. And we'll see you on the next one.
I want to hear feedback from the people that are watching this on a recording or live, that were in the deal. So
Yeah.
I would love to hear their insight on it.
Awesome. All right, guys, have a good one. I hear thunder. I'm gonna go
See
batten down the
ya.
hatches.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
All right, see
All right.
you guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Hilary.